Welcome back to Power Yourself, where science meets spirituality. But in this episode, we're going to be talking about what the hell is going on with Zelensky and Trump. Now, this channel is usually for empowering individuals, and I'm going to put it to you guys this way. Everything is connected, meaning your biology, from your biology to astronomy to politics to economics, everything is connected. So what the hell is actually going on in the world war possible 3? I'm kidding. There's not going to be possible. There's not going to be a 3. But so a lot of people are getting to the point where they see Trump as a dictator or a bully. Now, I usually am not in politics a lot. I don't look at it. But lately, I'm understanding how interconnected it is to our own spiritual development. And in the grand scheme of things, you have to really understand what's really going on. And for some people, to be able to understand what's really going on, you're really gonna have to accept a brand new paradigm that is completely different from what you're used to. And for some people, that's a lot. It may be scary. It may be unfathomable, to be honest, because think about it. Like, you have individuals that are in the Department of Defense or in the military, and they are whistleblowers. They're coming out talking about extraterrestrial crafts. They're talking about other intelligent species in the galaxy that they've encountered. They have done a lot of reverse engineering on their spaceships and so forth. And these are individuals that are literally coming out. They're coming out in public and testifying in front of Congress saying, yes, we have these things. And we actually interact with these things. We talk to them, or not these things, but these beings. And so that they're saying that was in the 1950s and until now. So think about this. Who was in power? You have to look at it this way. Who was in power when all of that was going on, where the extraterrestrials were coming down, the money that was going to the Department of Defense? There's a lot of individuals that are coming out saying there are certain things. Like, I think Elon Musk just posted something saying how there was a lot of money, like millions of dollars, that were sent to Department of Defense to create more submarines, but not one additional submarine was created. So where the hell did that money go to? And this is just now. Imagine all of the times where all that money was sent, yet our military somewhat looks kind of the same. Not really. If you're actually in the military, you know the advanced technologies that we've created that we actually are sharing with the general public. But what about the technologies that we're not sharing with the general public, right? So there's that side. So you have to ask, who was in power when all of this was going on? Not the the presidents were there, but they change every single 4 years or every single 8 years. So who is really in power? Who are the individuals that stay in government for more than 8 years? Senators, congressmen and women. These individuals are the ones that actually are making these rules or these new bills, whatever, right? Because the president can actually write a certain executive order, and then it cannot pass because the senators and the congressmen and women are literally rejecting it. So who's really in power, right? So now you have to think about that. And then this Zelensky and Trump thing, a lot of people, so I'm talking about like when Zelensky went into the Oval Office and basically, I think he told JD Vance. JD Vance basically said like, we're trying to make peace, something like that. And then Zelensky basically said, what peace are you talking about? When Putin invaded us, even though they signed an agreement for peace. And when he questioned him this way, you have to look at it in the perspective of the basically world leader. Yeah, Trump and JD Vance are the leaders of the United States. Like technically, that they're their own. They are the leaders of the United States. They're not leaders of the world, but the world follows what United States does. Why do you think everybody wants to come to the United States? Because United States is the place to be. Economically, United States is the place to be when it comes to power, when it comes to money, all this stuff. So if they are individuals that are trying to show some type of dominance, how could they let another individual that is in a that is ruling a country that is war torn and they're literally on the brink of just collapse come to the United States asking for help and then question them of their logic in front of millions of people? Now, here's the thing. If you're a person that is just a regular individual, you look at that and like I'm talking about, like if you're just an individual that is like two friends that are fighting or arguing, you would and you have empathy, you would be like, yo, I mean, yeah, my logic, you may not agree with my logic, but tone it down a little bit. Like just trying to understand where I'm coming from. You would want them to speak that way. But these are individuals that are dealing with war, meaning the decisions that they make lead to individuals dying, lead to you and I having to go to war. So they have to show some form of dominance. They have to show some form of superiority. I don't know. Sorry, my English is not the first language. um, Superiority, right? That's how you say it? I don't know. But whatever. They have to show some type of dominance, right? So, Trump, I'm a citizen. Please don't boot my ass out of here. But so you have to show some type of dominance. Now, I understand the empathy level of the general public. I totally understand it. The far left, a lot of people like to call them the crazies, but the far right, a lot of people like to call them the crazies, which they are correct. There are people on the far right that are just lunatics. There are people on the far left that are just lunatics as well. Now, I'm trying to talk to the people that are in the middle, that have some form of sense. You have to understand, when it comes to individuals that have empathy, when they look at a country that is war torn, that is literally about to die, our empathy tells us we need to go and help them because they're literally dying. That is correct. That is what every single human being that has some inclination of empathy would do. Now, what if that country is corrupt? What if the reason why they're in war in the first place was because of corruption? What if they're in war because they want to be in war due to other circumstances? Meaning, again, mind you, world leaders are not leaders. They're not actually the people that actually are leading. These are individuals that are following the directives of other individuals that have been in power for a very long time, and they don't care about publicity. So they're in the back, in the back, just calling the shots. And they've been doing this for a very long time. So, and you have to also understand the power of, wait, how do I say this word? Because this word is pretty difficult for me. What is it? The power of compartmentalization. Compartmentalization. Oh my God. Compartmentalization. I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. And this word basically means, like, in a governing body, not every single sector of that government is going to know what's really going on. Because if they do, then they somewhat have power because they know everything, right? So in government, everybody cannot know all of the information. So these people that are these world leaders, so to speak, in the eyes of the general public, they're not going to know everything. They can't know everything. So when they come out and tell you, like, corruption, there's no corruption. My country's literally dying. And when they speak to you in this way, what you're going to see as a person of empathy is their genuinity. meaning how genuine their reaction is. You know when a person is lying and when a person has genuine, when they're sharing genuine interest or genuine reactions to certain things. Their facial expression, their tone of voice, their eagerness to get things done quickly because you know there are people who are dying. So when you see their reaction, it looks genuine. So are you supposed to just believe genuinity, especially in a world full of corruption? And we know there's corruption. Like there's corruption. There's everybody talks about it. You look at 9/11. Like these are the individuals that are literally okay with their own civilians or citizens jumping out of a building, like a 50-story building. I don't know how tall it is, but I'm pretty sure it's at least 50 stories. A 50-story building just so they don't burn alive. Think about that. They're okay. They're okay with that. Like screw them. Like they can jump off whatever, as long as I'm getting my stuff done. As long as I'm getting what I need to get done. And a lot of you are probably like, "What is that? What are they trying to get done?" In reality, it's. I mean, I'm telling you guys. Like sometimes I don't want to say it because it's too much for some people to grasp. But obviously, we know that there is evil, and obviously, we know that there is good. And we're trying our best to determine which one is good and which one is bad. And that is really something that I admire within the human race because we want good. So we're trying to find out who is the bad and push him out. And what happens when media is pushing out information that makes the good guys look like the bad guys? It causes mass confusion. So our ability now is not to follow media. Now, I'm not saying don't follow media whatsoever, but have every single source of media available to you, so you can actually see what, like, from both sides, from both angles. But a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people are like, I'm convinced that this person is bad, so I am not gonna listen to them. I'm not gonna follow what they're saying, and I'm not even gonna I'm not even gonna put effort to even search on it or search about it. And that is really dangerous. That is really dangerous because everybody ultimately what we want is a world full of joy, a world full of compassion, a world that allows individuals to be as free as possible, um, gives us all the freedom to be able to pursue anything that we want to pursue. This is something that we all want, but we look at the other party or certain individuals and say, "You're not going to allow me to get that, so therefore I'm going against you." And it's a reasonable thing to do, to find the one that is evil and push against them. Of course, it's logical. But to make a decision to do that, to make a decision to go full blown into one party and reject the other, you better be damn sure which side you're on. You better be damn sure, because if you're not, it's like taking a drug and thinking that that drug is good for you, thinking that drug is actually helpful. But what that drug is actually doing is, let's say, it is taking you out of reality and is putting you into this delusional reality, and you're just taking that pill, and you're at the stage where the only thing you see is your delusional reality, and you're saying my delusional reality is real, and everything else outside of this is not real. And you can only get to have the other perspective if you stop taking the pill. Now, everybody can say this for both of them. Like, for both sides. You can say that side is taking the pill or this side is taking the pill. But what, like, your responsibility is, the only way that I'm going to be able to know the actual truth, whether I'm the one who's taking the pill or not, is for you to stop taking the pill. Stop taking this bombardment of information from one party and just be like, okay, let me take a break from this and see how things unfold without having any kind of bias reactions. And then you'll see if you were the one who's actually taking the pill. Because if you're the one who's actually taking the pill of this delusional reality and you stop taking the pill, you're going to start to actually understand the other person's perspective. and be like, "Oh, so that's where they're coming from. Okay, well, let me dig into this a little bit. What's going on here?" And then you can only do that when you're actually off the pill. And when you do that, and like truth, when you actually get to the truth, you don't need you don't need a pill. The truth will string a cord within yourself of real empathy, real, not just empathy, but like intellectual and logical understanding. Meaning, like, you start to understand logically. You don't lose your empathy just because, like, now, for some of you, you're probably gonna be like, "Oh, you're a Trumpster," or blah blah blah. I'm not no damn Trumpster. I'm an individual that wants peace for everybody. I'm an individual that loves every single individual. I see the radical left, and I see the love that they have. They genuinely love individuals, every single individual, and I applaud them for that. That is something that the right side should look into, because that is something that is very profound. To be able to have that amount of empathy, that is a powerful thing to have. I'm serious about this. I recognize that. And then you see the right, the far right. I'm talking about the far right. They really lack empathy. Like, they really don't have empathy. It's like my way or the highway, and you can just get booted. And they don't really see the pain the other side could go through if you're acting in such in accordance like that. So I applaud the empathy on the right hand side, or I mean, on the far left. But I applaud the ability to have some form of logical and sensible understanding, and have this, like, a reasonable, I don't want to say it like that. Like, the right has the ability to decode false reality, or decode um deceptions. They're pretty good at that. So I really much, I applaud them for that. They're good at seeing between the lies. They're good at that. And you have one side that's not really good at seeing between the lines, but they have immense amount of empathy, and you have another one that can see between the lines, and the between the lies and the deception, but they don't have a lot of empathy. Now, what happens when you put those two together? You have massive transformation in our society. And to do that, both sides need to stop taking the pill. Stop taking the damn pill. Look at the other side's view. And all I can say is, just take the empathy that's on the left-hand side, and then put it into the right-hand side, and we will have a reality that just unfathomable, to the good side, to the best possible scenario of reality that we can ever conjure up in our mind. I'm telling you. So, going back to this Zelensky, because I know I'm ranting right now. I call this my political rant. Political rant show number one. Um, so I feel like Zelensky honestly probably thinks that his country is actually war torn, and that America is just bullies because they don't listen to him, and they don't want to help. They just want their own thing to go down, meaning like their own interest. They only have their own interest. And yes, of course. I mean, look at this. Elon Musk is literally coming out. I think he went on the Joe Rogan show a couple of days ago, and he came out and said, "I can't talk about every single, like, all of the corruption, because they will kill me. They will literally kill me." Like, what does that tell you? It's not Biden that's gonna kill him and stuff. Who has been in power for all these times? Like, mind you, these people have been trying to create this reality. When I say these people, I'm talking about, like, let's just say the corruption. I'm not saying the left hand side is the corrupt one, or the right hand side is the corrupt one. There is a corruption within our system, not just America. I'm talking about the world. There is a corruption. Those individuals have been running the show. They have this vision of this future, because things everybody does things for them to bring into reality what they see for themselves in the future. So these individuals that have been corrupting this reality, they see this future that they want to come in. So they have to implement things periodically and methodically, and, like, specifically. And they plan it. And then Trump comes in and says, nope, we're not doing that. And nope, we're not doing that. And starts steering up things. What happens? Mass, like they tried to kill Trump. Do you understand the desperation for these corrupt individuals to go through for them to try to kill him? And then Elon Musk coming out and saying, I can't just full blown show you every single corruption because they are gonna kill me. So when you stop taking the pill, I'm talking about for both sides. When you stop taking the pill, you start looking at things more reasonably. Okay, why would you say they're trying to kill him? All right, let me look at this real quick. Let me search on what's actually going on. And I'm not saying get rid of your empathy. No, keep your empathy. You need empathy to actually connect with individuals. How can we create this reality of full on love, compassion, understanding, cooperation if we can't have empathy? You need empathy. It's a superpower. And the far left have immense empathy. Immense. So we have to get to the point where you actually use that empathy, but you also use reasoning. And you got to probe in every single thing, not just the other party. Probe into your own party. Why would they say some shit like this? Why would they, you got to. Or else we can't just say, "Oh, I know that person is good, so I'm just going to lay back and just believe them." No. And it sucks because people that have real empathy and love but don't have a lot of their abilities to reason and probe and investigate on certain things is not good. Those are the people that are actually getting taken advantage of and manipulated, and it really sucks. But we have to get to the point where we're using our investigative tools, look at pattern recognition, use that ability. So when I saw this, the Trump and Zelensky Oval Office situation, Zelensky basically said something in the lines of, "Oh, if you guys don't, do this deal with us, you guys are gonna feel the, the aftermath of the war." And Trump was like, "Don't tell us what we're gonna feel. What's wrong with you?" Of course, the United States is the most powerful country. How are you gonna come in and tell a country that's trying to help you that they're gonna feel the aftermath? When you're asking for help and you're telling them they're gonna feel the aftermath, and then Trump has to. He's the leader of a country. If what Zelensky basically said is, your people, meaning you, me, and other individuals in this world and in the United States are going to feel the aftermath. What is the aftermath? War. He's basically saying your people, the American citizens, are going to feel the war. I don't know if he's talking about physically. I don't know if he's talking about financially or economically. But he's saying that you guys are gonna you guys are gonna feel it. And Trump's like, don't tell my people what they're gonna feel. So I don't think Zelensky himself, and this is my opinion. I'm not saying, I didn't look this up or anything like that. I don't think Zelensky himself is corrupt, but I think the people around him that are guiding him and so forth, I think those are people are very corrupt, and they convince him in using facts. And here's the thing: we live in a society where fact can be manipulated. You can create fact. It's easy to create fact. DNA is easy to replicate. So if it has to do with proof, you can create proof and give it to world leaders and convince them to do a certain thing. So I would say, don't just rely on fact. And this is the thing: when you just rely on fact and you have so much empathy, you look at the fact and you're like, okay, that checks out. Why? Because a body of research or a well organized company or organization is telling me that this is a fact, and then I'm gonna believe them because they have a check mark or they are accepted worldwide, and so therefore I'm not even gonna use my intellect to even search on like why they're saying that, or what makes it a fact, or is there an opposing side, or I'm not even gonna search on that. I'm just gonna believe them. Those are the people that are going to get manipulated very easily, and we are. A lot of us are manipulated. So as a person that is so empathetic, when you look at the interview in the Oval Office with Trump, JD Vance, and Zelensky, the natural empathetic individual looks at that and says, "Wait, why are they fighting? Like, this is a country that is dying. Like, why don't we just speak nicely and then just talk it out?" It's easy for us to say that because we're not in their shoes. These are individuals that have to deal with making rules that cause people to die. Like, this is life and death situation. This isn't just two power hungry individuals talking. There are people literally dying, death. That's it. You're done. Your family no longer sees you. Your spouse, your dog, your lovely dog don't get to see you no more. Yes, that's sad. So these individuals, when they make deals like this, when they talk, they have to be serious. And I think emotions got heated up, and they just back and forth just start to argue and stuff. And it's easy for us to be like, yeah, you guys got to be empathetic. I mean, yeah, they should be empathetic, but we're talking about world leaders. I honestly don't think these world leaders don't have um, the level of empathy and the level of emotional intelligence to lead a utopian type of society. Because I know everybody is trying to get to a utopian society. That's what we're working towards. Even if you don't even admit it, the steps that we're taking in a global scale, or the step that we're trying to take, is to get to the point where we are living in a utopian society. What's the point of living, or what's the point of governing, if you're not trying to get to that kind of society? We're going there. We're trying to get there because we know it's reality. We know it's possible, right? So yes, these people are the leaders now. I don't think they are going to be the leaders when we get to that stage. And I'm telling you this 100%. Look at me in my eye. We're going to reach that reality. I'm telling you, we're going to reach that reality where our reality is a place of empathy, a place of cooperation and love, and like a utopian society. We will reach that. But it's going to require the general public, like you and I, to be able to not only use our empathy, but also use our intellect to be able to hone in on these information that we're getting from every single party and decode them, look into them, and not just follow a single organization just because individuals are coming out talking with uh they look like they're professional, and they speak with um uh good tone, and they're empathetic, they seem empathetic and stuff. It doesn't matter what people say, it only matters by what people do, right? And we all know this. So look at what they're doing. So yeah, this was rant number one. The moral of this rant is, don't just have empathy, and don't just have an intellect. You got to be able to bring those two together to figure out who's right and who's wrong, who's trying to manipulate you, and who's genuinely trying to create peace in this world. So the the other side, the side that majority of these individuals don't want to talk about, and I don't think they're gonna come after me and try to kill me or anything like that. So I don't really care. I'll talk about it. Um, you see, there are extraterrestrials. There are there are UFOs in this unidentified area phenomenon, UAPs, unidentified flying object, UFOs, flying in our skies. I've seen them. There's a lot of people that I've talked to that have seen them. You see them online, and yes, some of the videos are AI generated, so don't be fooled. But these things do exist. And not only that, there are other individuals that come from the government that talk about this stuff. So when you are looking to this, you have to also put into perspective that what happens here in this world, as in there are good guys and there are bad guys. There's good humans and there's bad humans, correct? Correct. And then when you go into the cosmos, when you see other extraterrestrials and so on and so forth, it also applies to them. There are good extraterrestrials and then there's bad extraterrestrials. You look in this world, there's far more good people than bad. You go in the cosmos, there's far more good beings than bad. So, if we've been interacting with these beings for the last 50 to 60 years and more, what do they have that we're not using? Or what do they have that could benefit us, but it's not coming to the general public? Because obviously, if we see them in the skies, I mean, these individuals are coming out and talking about this. They're saying these crafts are going 16,000 miles per hour and then literally will just do a 90-degree turn. Boop, boop. What kind of technology is that? Do you know do you know the type of advancement that will give the human society? That will be drastically just like we will go from I think we're a type 0 civilization, meaning like type 0, like we don't even use our own. I don't know exactly the scale to this, but type 0 is basically you ain't shit. Like you're so primitive. And then there's type 1, type 2, and type 3. I think type 3 is a species that or a society that's able to generate its own field of energy, I guess, and then is able to actually go into the cosmos and basically be the alien of other undeveloped civilization. That's like type 3. We're type 0. But we have technologies that can make us type 3. If we went through the natural evolution stage, we would go from type 0 to type 1 to type 2 and then to type 3. The information or the technology has been held from us for so long that it's literally, once it comes out, and this is the thing, they can't just bring out all the technology because honestly, it will cause mass like manic attack because your paradigm is being shifted drastically. It's like taking a DMT, having a DMT trip. Not really, but it's like that in terms of information that you're ingesting. So if they bring this stuff out, there's going to be a lot of power that is ripped out of the hands of individuals that had it before. And I think Elon Musk was just talking about this, where he said, when people get desperate, they will just resort to just killing you because they don't want their power to go away. And there's a lot. I'm telling you guys, there's a lot. So stop just looking at it as, oh, this is just a political thing. No, it is not. It is not just a political thing. It even goes into like religion. There's a time I think in the Bible where Jesus talked about like, and no, I'm not advocating for Christianity or Muslim, or no, I'm just like, power to self is literally, this podcast is to get individuals to really have power within themselves, understand the power within themselves. And by the way, Jesus wasn't Christian. He was just an individual that sharing his information, sharing his ideas. And that is it. That's all you got to do to be able to, like, he's just trying to get individuals to have empathy, true empathy, but not just empathy, but because you have to have the intellect to be able to weed deception. You can't just have empathy and just believe everything. You're easily manipulated because all you got to do is trigger your emotions and then you're just following whatever they wanted you to follow. No, be smart. So there's a lot. And I understand why Elon Musk does not want to share a lot, because he is literally telling you he's most likely going to get assassinated if he does. So we have to do this in a very methodical and structured way, little by little. It can't be all blown. Here's all the information. because that actually would do bad than it would do good. So, moral of the rant: use your empathy and use your intellect to find pattern recognition, find these deceptions, find use your intellect to find a way to understand who's actually manipulating you, who's actually trying to manipulate you, and don't fall for any type of sob story. No, because they're trying to actually get to your emotions, so you can actually get your mind to go from a intellectual point of view to trying to understand things to just an emotional point of view where you're just like fuck, what's that word, hypnotized. That's the word. Fucking hell. It took me like, you guys don't understand. It took me 3 hours to get this word. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, you don't want, like, if they trigger your emotions, you're just gonna be hypnotized because you're following your emotions. So all they gotta do is put information in a structured format to trigger lots and lots of emotion, so you will go to your emotional side of like how you perceive life. And you do not want to perceive life only emotionally. You do not want to do that because it's so easy to manipulate people like that. So you want to have your emotions, but like, don't get too deep into it. And this also helps in relationships, in romantic, in familiar, or like family relationships, friends, platonic relationships. You don't want to get so emotionally invested in something because you can literally lose your your reasoning ability. You don't want to do that. And this is how they manipulate individuals. So keep your emotions, keep your empathy, but also add into it your intellect, your ability to sift through deception. So I love you guys. Stay strong, and we'll get through this. And at the end, the real bad guy, so to speak, would be revealed, and the real good guys will be acknowledged. So, um, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next rant, I guess.